Hey there, Hofstra fans, and welcome inside the WB Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com. I'm your host, Julian Coultry, joined by the head coach of the Hofstra Pride Men's Lacrosse team, Seth Tierney. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right, Julian. Thanks for having me.
Another snowy day here in Hempstead. One result in the books. Let's talk a little bit about it. Before we dive into the result, what were your thoughts on the game against Marquette?
Yeah, I mean, we're certainly very upset. We didn't prepare to lose that game. I thought we had two 4-goal leads, one at 4-0, one at 8-4, with about 21 or 22 minutes to go in the game at home. And we got to win that game. A lot of things. If they went wrong, they went wrong. And I'm better now if that's the scenario. But we cannot accept a defeat in these scenarios. We just can't do it. So, with that being said, we were upset. The guys were upset. We tried to address some things that we really never saw in preseason, and even in the scrimmages, some things that uncannily happened. Credit to Marquette, for hanging in there and getting a win at the end. But we just need to do from top to bottom, we just need to do a better job and learn how to finish games.
Something you said after the game Saturday, and just something not less about the result, but you said you're coming in, a lot of emotion, a heavy heart playing for Joe. What was it like strapping up for that first game with that extra emotion and with 36 on the field and getting the season started for Joe?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those things when the whistle blows, a lacrosse game breaks out, and you got to go from there. Now, are you carrying a little something extra? There's no question. But it'll never be used as an excuse or a motivation. Are we playing for Joe? Yes. But we need to make sure that we get it done and do it the right way and do it the Hofstra way. So no excuses. We need to finish games. And again, when you're up 4 with 21 minutes to go, you got to be able to make a couple plays to finish that game out. One
of the things at the end of the game, especially in the third and fourth quarter, that came up were a couple extra penalties that were called, and they went on to the EMO. They only capitalized on 2 of the 8 EMO opportunities that they had. But for a team, how does that swing the momentum just for them going on the man up?
Yeah, I mean, again, you're right with your stats. When you lose by 1 and they score 2 on man up because of penalties of ours, then they are costly because you only lose by 1. The other scenario is they have the ball, and on certain days like that, they continue to keep the momentum, they continue to keep the flow, and so regardless of them scoring on man up, their time of possession starts to tilt their way as well. And that's something that we would like to tilt our way. I think we played maybe 21, 22 minutes down the offensive end, and we got to tilt that the other way. How does that happen? Less penalties, winning more face-offs, not turning the ball over offensively, and certainly clearing the ball the first time.
Coach, obviously, with a loss, it starts the season. But for the first game of the season, you're also going out there and you're trying to mix and match and see what you have for the rest of the season as it goes forward. We'll start with the attack. You obviously have Sam Lenar, as you mentioned a couple of weeks ago, playing a little bit banged up, but he still looks pretty good. You also had Brendan Cavanaugh out there, mixing, matching a couple of people. What'd you like from the attack?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Brendan Cavanaugh did a nice job. 2 assists, really no turnovers. I think maybe 1 got thrown over his head, but 2 assists to Briar Davis, rode hard, and some freshman in his first time on the stage with his lights on. Sam was 2 for 13 shooting. I don't know if we could have ever expected that. He's a pretty accurate shooter, and he got a shot off within the first 8-9 seconds and hit the pipe, and a couple of, credit their kid. B.J. Grill is a wonderful defenseman, plays hard like a pit bull, and he was in Sam's gloves all day, but he had 13 shots. We needed 1 more to go with that to make it a 5-goal lead, and then we're sitting here talking a little bit differently. So, and as far as Briar Davis, again, he had 3 goals. He stepped in the crease on his 4th goal. It was down the far end. Certainly, as a coach, we can yell and scream about it, but we can't see it from all the way down where we are. There's a referee standing right there. And Briar, we thought he did what he was supposed to do. 1 turnover on the perimeter, and he was told about it, and he's got to clean that up. But as far as the attack goes, again, I think they had some points and they did a good job.
The attacking midfield, obviously, you have 2 established members of it, and Mike Malave and Corey Hendrickson, but you mixed and matched with a second midfield line. Alderman was out there. The freshman gets his first career goal. Did you like what you saw from the attacking midfield on both sides?
Yeah, I mean, I think Malave, again, Michael is our captain, our leader, and, again, there's nobody that wants to win more than him on that team. So with that, he was 2 for 8 shooting, and, probably 1 or 2 were a little bit rushed. We need to have him finish one more. Again, a little bit more on the 6-on-6. He got one in transition and one on the man up. Corey Hendrickson, 1 for 4 shooting. Gave up a goal defensively and slashed someone, so that's one of those penalties. I don't know if they scored, but they had a chance to keep the ball for an extra minute or so. And Corey wants more out of Corey, and we want more out of Corey. Dylan Olderman, he kind of fits in the mold of the Brendan Kavanaugh. First time putting on a uniform. Again, I don't know if he turned the ball over, but he has this ability to get to the goal. He's doing a good job running with those guys. One of the things that we had thought was it was 14 penalties, 8 against us, 4 against Marquette. That changes the flow of the game. So we didn't play our second midfield as much because every time when the first midfield came off, the second midfield was ready, and then either a penalty happened or a goal, and then there was a little bit of a stoppage, and now your first midfield is ready to go. And so we kind of kept going with them. We got to get those second middies in the game a little bit more.
Defensive side of the ball, close defense, rope unit, obviously, Vince Sullivan and the 3Rs are the most established guys there. Did you like how they played? Obviously, you mentioned it, you blow a couple of leads. It sort of, on the stat sheet, looks like they had a bad game, but did you like the younger parts of the defense stepping up on close D?
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't think we put our best foot forward defensively. I'm not pinning it on any one in particular. I thought Chris Selva played well. He might have let in two goals that he wanted back that were a little bit deep, but I thought he stole a couple from them. That were inside of 5 or 6, one off his shaft, one off his leg, and he might have took one off the hip. So one of those things, they kind of balance out throughout the course of the game. And again, we'll see. I thought that Tanner Griffin did a pretty good job. Again, he would fit into that Olderman and Kavanaugh mold as the first time out there. Schilling did okay, and again, we're a little bit banged up. We got to play some more people down that defensive end until we can get these guys 100% healthy, and we'll see what happens this week.
Final spot is face-off X. Owen Westlack was the starter for Marquette. They take him out, replace him with Casey Kennedy, and once they made that switch to Kennedy, Chris Clark, he seemed to struggle a little bit in X. How does he take that step from having a bad game and put it behind him?
Yeah, and again, I think he was over 50% for the game. The problem was we were 40% in the second half. So when we saw that he was taking some time to adjust, we threw Connor Hall out there, who has, he's done a great job over the preseason, and we couldn't crack him that way. So then we went back with Chris Clark, and then the next one is Michael Diener. We're not going to be afraid to go with a pole in the future, and but Chris Clark needs to know that he needs to need every face-off that he goes out there. He needs to just do pushing the pile of chips every time, and that's his job.
If there's one thing you take away from an opening game loss, what would you say it would be?
Yeah, and you say concentration. We've tried to work on it with a few different unique things over the course of preseason, but concentrating on clearing. I think we're one, maybe 2 plays away from talking differently. And again, I take nothing away from Marquette. Those guys are well coached. They did a good job. But we were up 4 goals with a little over 20 minutes to go. We have to hold on to that, and we just need to close now. We need to finish. It's the first game of the year. Let's get back on the horse and let's start running.
This week, you guys head across the Hudson. You take on Princeton, a team that, if you look at the lineup, they bring back some players, but they don't bring back Tom Schreiber. How does this team change without a guy who, for the past 4 years, was unstoppable and a Tewaaraton Award finalist?
Yeah, Tom Schreiber. I am fortunate enough to know him. I don't know him well enough to talk into detail with him, but losing a guy like Tom Schreiber hurts you in 2 ways, and we have lost guys like him, in the past. But he takes your best defender, and you have to play Tom Schreiber with him, and he gets 3 goals on your best defender. So now he graduates, and now things have the trickle-down effect. So now this guy Kip Orman, he's a very, very good midfielder, very good athlete. He's been around, played a lot of lacrosse, and just their other guys. They're number 8 on the attack, number 14 on the attack. Those 2 left-handers, they can play. And then they got a couple other guys that are going to step in. Fakaro, wonderful athlete, can hurt you on offense, playing a little D-midi now, facing off. So we've got our hands full. And defensively, they're good. They got a bunch of athletes, they're smart, and they play that Princeton-style defense.
Coach, do you foresee any lineup changes on your part going into Friday?
We have to take a look at the injury report right now, and right now I don't have any changes for you. But again, we had a focused practice yesterday. We need to understand that losing is not acceptable, and we just need to move forward.
One final question for you, Coach. What's the key to victory against Princeton this Friday?
Got to close. We got to be able to close. It's nice to get out and be focused in that first 15, 18, 20 minutes. That's fine. But again, the most meaningless stat is the halftime score. We got to start winning the second half.
Coach, thanks so much for the time. Hofstra takes on Princeton this Friday. Once again, this has been the WB Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com.